So thanks all for joining this panel. We have three of our partners here today, and we'll talk about high-tech turf management. So how we at the Johan Cruijff Arena innovate on the topic of turf. Unfortunately, it's not in there anymore. So for the people that have came here with the expectation to see a beautiful green turf, too bad, it's not there anymore. We'll talk about that as well in a second. But today we want to talk about how we at the arena, together with these partners, move from reactive to predictive turf maintenance, and how we optimize the turf quality by the use of data, AI, and other innovations and tools that we have here at the venue. If you talk about we, it's not just me, it's not just the colleagues at the arena, but it's really together with an ecosystem of partners that we invited here during the panel session for today. So before we start, maybe a quick introduction from either of you, and then I want to start with you, Frank, on the left.
Thank you, Luc. Frank van Beusekom, CCO at SGL. We've been working in the industry for around 23, 24 years, providing technology like lighting solutions, but also monitoring tools and data platforms to help our customers grow a perfect pitch, and we do that in around 600 stadiums worldwide.
600, that's an impressive number. Next to you.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Luc. My name is Johan Hesen from the company Tarkett Sports. We specialized in hybrid pitches, so we build hybrid pitches worldwide. It's approximately now 900 pitches worldwide we have, and one of our clients is the Johan Cruijff Arena. So first of all, my apologies that there's no green pitch anymore.
So it's your fault.
It's my fault. Sorry for that.
Thank you. Hans?
Yeah, my name is Meeske from Holland Innovative.
No one can hear you.
My name is Meeske from Holland Innovative, product development company, already for 20 years in developing projects in several markets. And 10 years ago, we started in Johan Cruijff Arena with the question, we have a lot of concrete, grass cannot grow, can you support us? And we started there with data-driven pitch management, resulting now in HI Sports, where we deliver data-driven pitch measurement solutions from the Johan Cruijff Arena.
There we go. Thanks, guys, for the introduction. And before we move to the actual panel questions, just a little bit of background of where we come from at the Johan Cruijff Arena. And for us, it all started with Clara and Marta, who you see on the background. Then you might think, like, what the hell is this? This is a picture taken in 2001. It was a protest action from the fanatic fans of Ajax. Because back then the turf didn't grow at all, and we had to replace it up to 6 times a season. So already right from the start, there was an Achilles heel for the organization to make sure that the turf was growing, that we maintained the highest quality and most sustainable pitch possible, as we are aiming for today. So it started out of a necessity, but right now it is one of the most innovative and also connected assets that we have at the venue. But how did we actually do this, and how did we overcome these challenges, and what kind of tools and technologies are we using today? And that's something we will touch upon in this panel discussion for the coming half an hour. And we'll do so by diving into 3 blocks, so 3 main topics. First of all is about collaboration and innovation. So how do we collaborate with this ecosystem, and what kind of innovations do we utilize to optimize the quality of the pitch? The second one is about technology and the impact we make. So what are these tools, and what kind of insights and impact do they generate? And the third one is to talk a little bit more about the future and the future developments that we see happening in the market and in the venue itself. So to start off right away, I don't know why this one is not visible. There it is. I mentioned a couple of times we're working together with this ecosystem, right? Together with the shared vision of achieving the highest quality and sustainable pitch possible. If I may ask you, Frank, what makes this collaboration ecosystem unique, in your opinion? The way we collaborate here at the Johan Cruijff Arena.
I think what's quite unique is in how you really involve partners in the group, even sometimes on a day-to-day basis, and also how we work together and also create benefits for SGL as a company by providing the opportunity to test new technology, creating a living lab for us. Getting lots of feedback from Roy, the head groundsman, also when we introduce our new turf-based data platform, when we introduce recently, he's been working with a turf robot, a new autonomous device for disease treatment. So new technology, not only do we get feedback from you as a partner, but also the way we can test it and further improve it.
And you just mentioned you're active in up to 600 stadiums worldwide. How is your approach here or the collaboration here different than at the other venues? Is it just the living lab or is it more than that?
I think there's lots of customers where you get feedback. That's also something, yeah, if you actively look for it and cooperate with your customers, you always get some feedback. I think what's different here is the shared goals and the approach that we have with other partners like Tarkett and like HI Sports, that you really work towards that goal and also share knowledge and help each other out. I think that makes a big difference. It's not a one-on-one thing, but it's a collaboration.
And then you say that that shared goal, what you're working towards, so that's key to make sure that the group also delivers and collaborates with each other.
Yes,
Correct.
I think that's the only way that you can really progress. If you don't have a shared goal, then it will be difficult because anyone will follow their own interest in the end.
All right, thanks. And this one's for you, Hans, but besides HI Sports, you have Holland Innovative as well, right? You're the founder of that company as well, in which you're active in multiple other industries and sectors. How do you use the knowledge that you generate there? How do you apply it to your work here at the arena? And how do you strengthen the ecosystem from that perspective?
Yeah, the great thing is that starting a project 10 years ago with really a challenge with a bad pitch, that you challenged us to come on with technology to make the best possible pitch. And actually by doing, we are continuously challenged to come with new ideas and new technology. And that's why Johan Cruijff Arena is more or less the spider in the web, connecting several ecosystems and get the best out of it. And that's nice to work together in this platform and come up with the new ideas challenged by Johan Cruijff Arena. And in that way we have one common goal, that's the perfect pitch.
And how do you deal with the fact that all of you have different roadmaps, different priorities, a different business model as well? How do you deal with those circumstances and still make sure that you deliver together?
Now we openly discussing that together, and it's by having just one common goal, we focusing on that goal, and beside we can have our own roadmap, our own plans, but in Johan Cruijff Arena it comes together in that one solution. Yeah, you in that way are the moderator also, especially when we have sometimes conflicting ideas, or we don't have really conflicting ideas, but when there's something, we can talk about it.
You're mentioning conflicting ideas. I'm curious. Can you give an example? Maybe they are not, but I bet there might be some.
Of course, there are always. Well, everybody has his own stakes, and going to customers. No, it can be that we go to the same customer, and that's not. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's good to be open about things, how you're doing, and yeah. I don't know if you want one of you want to add on that.
Well, to my opinion, it's just not possible doing it alone as a company. We need each other. We all need each other. It's from the field selection where we start with which grass will be grown at the grower for the Johan Cruijff Arena, which sand base will be used. And at the moment it comes into the Johan Cruijff Arena, then there's a big job, especially for Roy and his team as the head groundsman. But he needs all the tools he can get from us all. Like during the installation of a new turf, we used the camera of Hans to see which spots are maybe weaker, and we have to take them out and put some new sorts in. At the moment, the sorts are in, and we have made them hybrid. Then it needs to grow, because the sorts, they came from an outside field. They were very happy being outside, and now we put them somewhere inside. So they need light. They need they need Frank. So it's a collaboration of all, and that's what makes this a great cooperation all together.
There is obviously friction sometimes, and there might sometimes be some conflict. We work with data a lot. Hans obviously works with data a lot. So there's sometimes disagreement about how you'd like to do things or whatever. But I think that's also the strength of working together. That you challenge each other and that you together find the best solution. I think as long, and that's what I like about the collaboration, that it's very clear what the goal is. And that's the Johan Cruijff Arena pitch, and everyone needs to work towards that goal, and then in the end, each individual company will always benefit from that.
So again, having the shared goal is key here, but then still there can become some conflicting interest or some struggles on the way. Do you say, okay, that goal is so important, we will move away from the conflicts and go ahead, or is it then sometimes difficult to cope with it?
Yeah, I think we don't have really problem with handling it, and maybe it's also good to tell the audience that we don't have an NDA or strict agreements between each other. Well, we have a gentleman way, just in open in working together, and if there's something, we discuss it. So it's not closed by legal constructions. We don't like that. We are just very open, and in that way we can, for example, deliver. With SGL and HSI Sport, we both can deliver a dashboard, but the customer defines which one they choose for. And we don't have discussions about that, because the customer at the end will decide.
No, and the customer in this case is the arena, right?
Yeah, and in the arena, the handball. Let's be clear about that. For arena, it's important that they use both dashboards, because they have their both advantages, so that it works perfectly together.
Great. And so we talked a lot about collaboration, a lot about the ecosystem and how we cooperate with each other. In an environment like the arena, the conditions are continuously changing. We're a multifunctional stadium, right? So even during the football season, we sometimes have events as well. So especially in an environment like the arena, I think it's very important to adopt technology, to innovate together and make sure that we stay relevant and that we adapt to these changing circumstances. Could you dive a little bit deeper into the technologies that are currently deployed here, Hans, from your perspective?
Yeah, I think we started 10 years ago just by buying from the market soil sensors. We bought weather stations, and by developing in that time also a dashboard to collect this data for the field managers. We together in the roadmap defined that we need for performance, we want to have an automatic performance measurement system. So we developed that in the innovation platform, and in the meantime there was a need for because we saw the data is becoming more and more important. So in the innovation roadmap was challenged. We want to have 24/7 data. So for that reason, the multispectral camera system was developed. And if anybody can find it in the stadium, you can get a bottle of wine from us because it's at the top of the roof.
You can see it there, right, on the bottom left.
So good hint.
So just run to the stadium and you get a bottle of wine. But yeah, in that way, in the innovation roadmap, we all are challenged to come up with the new things.
Cool. And how's that for you, Frank? Different technologies as well. Do you apply all of the solutions you have here at the arena as well?
Yes, I would say almost all of our solutions, sometimes temporary just to test and get feedback. I think obviously what's often a very visible thing of SGL is the grow lights, because they're quite present and they give a big glow. But also for many years already the monitoring tools, so that Roy knows exactly what the pitch conditions are in combination with the performance measurement from high sports. So yes, we used almost all of our technology here, and that's also what I think is the challenge to make it all work together, because you can have the best possible grow lights in the world, but without a decent hybrid pitch in a stadium like this, you would still struggle if you don't have the right data, or you don't know where you're working towards in terms of performance measurement, etc. Then it's really a combination of all technologies that comes together.
And we talked a lot about data. I heard you mention Roy a couple of times. Roy is our head groundsman who's here in the room as well.
Roy, can you wave?
Yeah, there he is.
Thank you, Roy.
Maybe a big applause for Roy, because we had the best prize for the best pitch.
I'm just curious, so we're using technology, we're using data. What kind of insights do they generate that makes Roy's life a little bit easier? Can you say something about that?
You do have to ask Roy if it makes his life easier. I don't know. No, I think, and that's what we see everywhere. And when I started as SGL a long time ago, there was only a handful of groundsmen using data. Most were using their gut feeling. But I think it's key that nowadays there's lots of data, and that's progressing and getting more and more. But it should really be seen as a part of a groundsman's toolkit in my eyes. In the end, it's still the groundsman making the decisions and also making sure that it is the perfect pitch. We've seen many situations where there is similar technologies and information, and still the outcome is completely different. So in that way, it's always a toolkit for the groundsman to use and base his actions on.
Cool. And Johan, this one is for you. We have the Grass Master solution behind us, there on top. How do you balance, from Tarkett Sports' perspective, to invest in new technology and versus optimizing what you already have and make sure that it's perfectly fine-tuned? How do you balance those?
That's a good question. Well, how do we balance the technologies we have? Is, well, in principle, that's when we talk about a hybrid pitch. You can talk about two different types of hybrid pitch. You have a stitched or carpet based. Here at the arena you had both. In the end we chose to go for actually a shallow stitched hybrid pitch due to the fact that that there is always the events in the summertime, like you've seen now that we take out the pitch. So actually the arena is challenging us all the time of being on the top shelf to invest in ourselves, to see where we can go. So look at the machines where we can find a shallower stitch. Can we do that? How deep do we have to go? How much? How fast can we go? Because there's always a time limit here. So in that perspective, yeah.
And how is that for you, Hans? Because you have a lot of solutions tested here in the past years. So also for you, yeah, you have your own roadmap. You want to invest in new technology, but you also want to optimize what's here already. How do you balance it?
Yeah, that's maybe good to mention. In the innovation platform, we started recently also with an AI transformation plan, starting with an inspiration session, and after that an opportunity mapping. And what's great to see is that also in the team that everybody's flabbergasting about the possibilities. And that as a team, we are now defining in all the opportunities set of prioritization to be able to develop our new our new AI stuff, and especially about how can it contribute to the best quality, but also how can we in that way predict also the future.
So you make a nice jump to the next block about the future. Nice bridge, thank you. I heard you talk about AI. I think for the ones that attended multiple sessions today, you might have heard it a lot of times already. It's everywhere around us. It will also impact the way that we manage the turf here. Is it a hype, or is it a long-term valuable technology that we should implement? And I'm not going to ask you, Hans. I'm first going to move to Frank. What do you think?
That's a very good question. I'm not an expert. but I've heard experts saying that on the short term, it's maybe hyped and overestimated what it can do, but on the long term, it's underestimated. From what I've seen so far, and also in the sessions that we've done, I think it can offer a lot of potential, especially in a very practical step. What we often hear from our customers, and Roy as well, 10, 15 years ago, there was a minimum of data and it was easy to oversee. Now there's so much data available, there's so many different companies offering their data, offering platforms. I think AI could be of help, and the progress would be in bringing data together and creating one central insight into the next action to take, or the conditions of the pitch.
So it adds to the human aspect of managing.
I think there will always be the human aspect, in a way that there's so many. It's a living thing, literally. There's so many things you cannot predict. There's a lot you can predict, but I think in the end there will always be human involvement.
And Jon, you are very much in the early stage of the process, right? So we can see it right now. You are involved now, while Frank and Hans might jump in later in the process. In that stage of where we are, do you think AI will play a role there as well for your activities?
Well, AI can definitely play a role in future, but we have to see what the future brings. Like Frank says, it's if it's a hype, yes or no. When we first get to know the internet, we also thought, what it is. We weren't sure what to get out of it, and what we see now out of internet, what we get out of it. I think the developments about AI, they go 20, 30 times faster than we had with internet. So AI will develop to something, which we will see in future what it brings to us. Does it bring us quicker making nice pictures, or does it really bring something which will help us to identify the right data, which we can use in the process up front. So with the turf which will be installed here at the arena is somewhere being grown. That's already for 1 year up front. We are working on that. There is some data from that, and what can the grounds team of the arena and Roy, what can they use from that? What can we use from that to make it an even better installation, or that the grass keeps happy all the time? That's
yes. So the biggest value you see is connecting the data that's already there, and make sure that it has a meaning instead of just numbers.
Yeah, but yeah, we really have to see what AI, how it develops and what it brings in the end, and that's quite difficult to look into the future. But looking at what internet brought us, then I definitely believe that AI is there to stay.
So someone who I think shares that vision is Hans. Hans, you mentioned the opportunity mapping sessions we had, right? So we also, for the audience, we are in the middle of some design sprints to see how we can leverage AI or other technologies to move to this predictive turf maintenance. Can you share some first insights from the sessions that we did?
Now, maybe it's the first insight is that the amount of possibilities are that big that we are now in the process of prioritizing, but everybody is flabbergasting over the amount of opportunities. And fully agree what is all said before. The field manager and the grass team, they define and they are ahead of the selection of what we're going to do. But if we want to implement this all, AI is going that fast. We need AI, otherwise we cannot implement it. And at the moment, it's going 10 times, 100 times faster. You can do 10 times, 100 times more engineering than done in the past. I just can give an example. If you make your software, you don't need the software engineers anymore. Well, you generate it automatically with AI. So imagine that you can develop a new feature. Instead of working a full month, you can do it just within 1 week or in 1 day. That makes a difference. And then we can afford this to implement all those features.
And if you reflect or apply that on the turf management practices, we mentioned it a couple of times, predictive turf maintenance, what does it mean? What could it be?
What I see is that we currently we are in the process, but what I foresee that within now and 1 year, maybe already at the end of the year, that with all the parameters of the let grow lighting, with the maintenance of the pitch, with the performance parameters, that we made a model with all those parameters and can predict the quality, and that way assist Roy what he needs to do and optimize it. And as a result of that, maybe Roy can use materials less materials or at other moments to optimize his pitch. So that means less cost and faster.
And even maybe a sustainability angle as well. Then.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
Cool. Then last question about AI specifically, maybe for you, John. What do you see as the biggest risks or limitations in applying AI in the field that we are working in?
Biggest risks. Well, several. Let's put it in two separate ways. Is that on the when it's being implemented, it has to be implemented in that way that it helps the groundsman. In this particular way, it helps Roy to save time, to make his time more efficient, and to help him hopefully predict much more. We cannot come to a stage where it brings him extra work. It's not that he will be a programmer. People working with grass want to be on the grass, and they don't want to be too much time behind the computer. So that's one side. On the other side, we are sharing the data. And especially from you guys, you have a lot of data to share. Where does it stay, and how do we keep it safe? And we're all about sharing, but sharing to the right people.
So on the one hand, it's about the balance between the human aspect and technology, and on the other hand, also data security. And
that's a good summarize.
Okay.
I think the data should always be supportive and not directive. And as long as that is the case, then I think there's a lot of potential and a lot of ways to improve, to be more efficient, but also achieve a better outcome or give more security to the groundsman in his decisions, as long as it always stays supportive.
Clear? And besides AI, so you're allowed now to say anything but AI, but what is the future gonna bring us? Where are we in 3, 5, 10 years time from now? Hans?
I think we will have, and it's shorter than you're saying. I think within 1 year we will have a digital twin of the pitch, which is supporting us in everything.
You share that vision, Frank, John?
I hope to be on the beach in Curaçao, but well, next to that, who brings the future? Hopefully a big help from AI. But besides that,
we're not allowed to say.
Oh, sorry. But we have to make sure that we go to a sustainable pitch, whether it's sustainable in a way that it stays in or for a longer time, or that installation time, etc., will be more to CO2 neutral. You know, we're still using a lot of tractors, CO2, plastic, etc., all into the pitch. We should have a look into that, how we can improve that for the future.
And are there currently any developments that are focused on this initiative?
Definitely, yeah.
Can you share something? Or
no.
No? Okay.
No, I think in the next few years there will be a lot of focus on making sure that the technology and then the hardware is also interacting. What you now see is that more and more companies are using data. So there's data about the undersoil heating, irrigation, grow lights, everything. But it doesn't come together yet, and it's not working really working in that ecosystem yet. So I think creating that ecosystem between different suppliers, different hardware, different technology, different data solutions can be a big step and a big improvement. If you look really at the long term, what we see lately is that from a technology point of view, from a knowledge point of view, it's perfectly possible to grow a high quality grass pitch indoors without any natural light or natural conditions. I would say it's even more possible, and you have more control as long as you get the conditions right.
Like you see at Madrid now, for example.
Madrid, we've been doing a project in Saudi Arabia. We've been doing it at our test center for years already. Tottenham Hotspur is doing it for quite a while already when the pitch goes into NFL mode and into the car park. So you see, as long as you have, I think we're at a moment now in the industry where the technology and the knowledge is available. I think in the long term that could have an impact on how stadiums are being built. That will take a while because that takes some planning, but you're not depending anymore on the availability of natural light or natural conditions. So that also with a stadium like Johan Cruijff Arena that's heavily used for events as well, I think that could have a big impact.
Yeah, so one of the trends you're seeing in the industry is that more and more new stadiums or current stadiums that are being renovated are becoming multifunctional, right? Same as us. Then of course the turf management is a very important aspect there. So you think that the new developments within turf management do enable multifunctional venues to host more events also during the season? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely. With the technology available, but also with the data, the information available to make things work. What you see here, you guys, a few days after the last concert, you can play a game, etc. That's all possible because you have that toolkit to ensure a high quality pitch. And yeah, it does give some sleepless nights sometimes to Roy, but the toolkit is there.
Interesting. And I want to move back to the digital twin because you just mentioned it very quickly. It's actually one of the first times that I've heard it to be applied to the pitch. Can you elaborate on it? So what does it look like and what is the added value of it?
Now there are needs first to predict the quality of the pitch. For that we need all the knowledge and parameters what we have here together to moderate this perfect pitch. But there are also needs regarding the maintenance, and we're starting now with more structured getting the data in for the maintenance to optimize this, and in that way make it digitally. Well, when you have this as a knowledge system at one place just available, then we can questioning the system when we have certain problems. Like for example, last year we had a disease, and for the future I propose that that we can predict the disease, or even better, that we can omit it. And I think that's the future, and that we can support it to make in that way the life of everybody easier.
So then it's basically the foundation to move towards predictive maintenance. The foundation is to have this digital twin, so you can run these scenarios on it.
Yeah, it's a kind of, or in that way, of course, a kind of support to your daily work, and in that way also a knowledge system to ask for support.
Cool. I have some more questions, but I see we have a couple minutes left. Are there any questions from the audience? And if not, I'll just ask my own questions. So that's, for me, it's both fine. I'll just continue then. We mentioned it before, right? You're working closely together with each other. What are the biggest challenges that you're facing? Not so much in the collaboration, but just in the work you're doing here or at other venues. What are the biggest challenges you see that you try to overcome? Frank.
I think that the biggest challenge for us as a company is the fact that you maybe want to do too much at the same time. We all work in a niche industry, so that means you have to look beyond borders. We work worldwide as a relatively small company. We want to constantly improve in our grow lighting technology. There's the LED transition, where there's lots of interesting potential. On the other end, we see there's much more to a perfect pitch as well. So we do other technology as well. We just launched that turf robot, which is now focused on disease prevention with UVC light, but also there the possibilities are endless. You can turn that into a platform for data measurement. The monitoring itself, there's lots of potential. So I think the challenge for us is more in choosing our battles and where to focus on and making sure you don't run too fast as well.
Yeah, so there are endless opportunities arising. So how do you stay focused and how do you pick your priority projects?
And in the end, keep in mind that what really matters is what your customer produces on a match day or how the event goes. So yeah, again, we need to be supportive, but in the end, it's them that do the job and make it work.
And how is it for you, John? Is it the same for the delivering hybrid turfs?
It's especially time. That's it's really you know, we get to the end of the football season. We get to the football season everywhere in Europe. Let's put it purely to the Netherlands. We don't know when we start next season where Ajax is going to end up. Will they be in the Champions League? Will they be champions? Will they have Johan Cruijff 𝐂𝐫𝐮𝐬? Will they have? Will they be third or fourth? And that's not only Ajax. That's all 18 teams. Not all 18, but let's put it like it's maybe 8 out of the 18, where there are, if they are, you know, going down to the second division, or teams which are in the second division going up, teams that has to play you know, extra competition games for going into Europe, yes or no, and they all get nervous towards the end of April, beginning of May. Where are we? And we have to try to help them all, help them in renovation, have the time management. Then you have your events here as well at the arena, and to go around it. And there's more people involved, like the event people. We are here just purely for the turf, but when we are done finishing this, then the flooring comes on, and when the flooring comes off, then we're back again, and then we all have to be here again. So yeah, it's time management.
Cool, thanks for sharing that. And I think the last question from my side, maybe to you, Hans, if you could give one piece of advice to other venues that are trying to innovate with this ecosystem and try to bring this turf management practices further, what would it be?
I think I'm very in favor of course, and I need to say it, but I really believe in this working together. What we do in Johan Cruijff is really unique. And especially looking now what's going on in the world, I see two mechanisms. The first one is the uncertainty in the world with the global tensions, and especially in tech, we suffer this uncertainty. On the other hand, we have the AI revolution, which what we now already see will also disrupt the current business profiles. But as we are in the lead of AI transformation, the question for myself is, are we humble? I believe that we need to go a factor 10 faster. The question is this ambitious or is it realistic? I think it's very realistic. And that we need to deal with.
Thanks for sharing that. I think, so some of the takeaways that I got from this discussion is that in this case, innovation is also not just about a product, right? It's about a continuous process, continuous improvement that you need to do together. And it's also not so much about, of course, the technologies are important. You need to have the right solutions. But what I heard back a lot of times is as well that the trust and the openness between each other and this long-term commitment is also a key foundation for a successful collaboration. So that's something that I will bring home tonight. So thanks for sharing that. Thanks to the audience for listening in. And do you have anything left to say? Otherwise, we're done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.